All right, round two for us. We got kicked off the internet. So I wanted to go ahead and just thank Cara for being here, do a quick introduction of how we met, and then I'm going to ask her a couple questions and allow her a chance to kind of talk today. So she's going to talk on stretching and mobility. And so I met Cara in a business course that we both took in January. So it's a course with about 130, 150 health coaches, and so I got to meet her there. And so I wanted to go ahead and allow you a chance to kind of share a little bit of your background, how you got into the line of work that you did, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Cool. Well, thanks for the introduction and thanks for having me on. I love what I do. I'm super passionate about helping people, and I actually got started as a personal trainer. So
That's awesome.
13, I broke my kneecap. I had a complete reconstruction, and I broke my kneecap almost in half. So when I was 13, it took me out of 4 sports. And when you're at that age, you have the A team and the B team, and it really starts to get fun and competitive. And so being out of sports, I didn't really know what to do with myself. So my dad hired me a personal trainer at the gym in town. And so I started training with him. And then when I was 16, I got the American Council on Exercise textbook, and I studied and studied, and I was, ready to take the test. So I called to register, and they were like, sorry, ma'am, but you have to be 18 to get certified. So all the work that I had done, I was totally bummed out about. So I ended up going to Arizona State University for exercise science and kinesiology. And I found myself working at World Gym initially, and then I worked at a club out here in Arizona called Fitness Works, and I was there at each gym for about 8 years. And the National Academy of Sports Medicine came out with this really unique certification called corrective exercise, and it was basically an injury prediction and injury prevention training module. And so the Optimum Performance training module basically starts you in stability and core strength before you do anything else. And part of that stability phase is finding out muscle imbalances, what muscles are too tight and what muscles are too weak that can create injury in the future.
Okay.
So that really resonated with me because of my injury that I had in the past.
With my knee that I've been so honestly very fascinated with this whole process. I've never been a part of physical therapy, and to see the change. So I think I was telling you that the other day. It's super fascinating. So
yeah. And everybody's body is different, so you never know what you're working with,
Yeah, that's true. So currently that's how you got into the industry. And so tell us a little bit more, because I know you're also doing some other things too. Did you want to share that, or do you want to just focus a little bit more on?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I started doing corrective exercise kind of as a niche because, the way to be successful in any industry is basically to do something that nobody else is doing. Right? And so in the gym industry, there were tons of personal trainers. There's personal trainers on every corner, but what they weren't doing was they weren't looking at people's biomechanics. They weren't looking at their individual injury or the way their body moves and saying, okay, well, you're quad dominant and your hip flexors and your lower back are firing, so we're going to do nothing but abs and glutes and hamstrings. So people were getting injured left and right at the gym. And so I started doing specifically corrective exercise. All the programs that I designed were customized for the person's body. And after doing that for about 5 or 6 years, I ended up doing quantum biofeedback, which is kind of like an energetic frequency healing system, which helps the body heal from stressors. So we can look at muscles, ligaments, tendons, brain waves, auras, chakras, all that fun stuff too. So the whole athletic rehab business of what I do is really to take people out of that immediate pain that they're feeling, because it restricts us from doing activities.
I may need that actually with my knee.
Yeah. Oh, it's fun. It's neat because it pays attention to what your body needs. It's not just treating knee pain or back pain or ACL tears or anything like that. It's specific to what your body needs and all of its other previous injuries.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. And hearing more of the stuff you're doing, just knowing that we've been more in touch with, in a group type setting, it's interesting. I just need to dive in and do it one day just because I'd love to know.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, so then, as far as when we look at even the stretching, piece of things, we're talking about stretching and mobility when we talked about this kind of even a few months ago. Let's even start kind of, knowing that that's important. I'll even share with you, I will probably be confession when I work out, and I'm kind of at that place where I'm just getting back into it to do modified stuff right now.
For sure.
but I will probably say I'm not good at stretching. But now, knowing the difference, in all honesty, of just, even just a couple weeks ago, my physical therapist came to me and said she's extremely concerned with just the range of motion type thing. So I've been doing a lot more, honestly, like stretching, getting ready, and I can tell the difference. And so let's just go there and we talk about maybe either specific type moves that might be important, or the importance of around stretching, and how that can even help our joints, and maybe some, I don't know if you have any specific tips around that.
I think that the most important thing that people don't understand is that stretching is kind of a thing of the past, because there's so many aspects of flexibility that people need to understand. So with corrective exercise is a different form of training because of the order that we do it in. So if you think about movement, all movement begins in the nervous system. So the brain sends a signal to the muscle to contract. The muscle fires an electrical signal that signals the muscle to contract. When the muscle contracts, whatever joint it's attached to will move with it, right? But when we have back pain and we go see a chiropractor, the chiropractor will adjust the skeletal system. And when we have muscle pain, we'll go see the massage therapist, and the massage therapist will adjust the muscular system. But none of them are addressing the first and foremost movement system, which is the nervous system. So the brain sends a signal to the muscle moves the joint. So if we're trying to fix our posture, if we're trying to stand up better or correct our feet, from going out or in, we have to start with the brain. And the way that we start with the brain is with something called autogenic inhibition. So here's what that is. Basically, have you ever foam rolled, Allison?
Not at home, yes. In my home, not.
Okay, so if you use a foam roller and you find an adhesion, what do you notice?
Pain.
Yeah, it hurts.
Okay, so I was going to say, is this a bad answer?
Yeah, no, that's right. But an adhesion will signal a pain receptor. Okay, so that's how you know that there's an adhesion there. And what happens with adhesions and how they develop are, if your muscle fibers are interlocked like this, and there's thousands of them. But when you work out and you overuse muscles, they tear. So how long, if you're going to do legs, how long do you wait before you do a leg routine again?
Probably another week.
Yeah, once a week, or you at least give 2 days, right?
Right. Sure.
Time and protein will rebuild those muscle fibers. They'll rebuild them stronger and they'll rebuild them bigger. But if you don't give those muscles a break, because every day you sit at the computer with your hands in front of you, even though it's not strenuous, these muscles are working to put your hands here. Same thing with your hip flexors, same thing with your lower back. So those muscles slowly over time will start to tear, and adhesions will come in and they'll build up in those microscopic tears. And adhesions are like spider webs, and they literally, like in a cadaver, if you're going to take an adhesion and separate it, it sounds like Velcro.
Okay.
Like peeling away. Like you've experienced with scar tissue. Like,
yeah, I don't know if I told you that, but I did. Like my inflammation was bad. After the fact, pretty painful.
Yeah, anytime there's trauma, it develops scar tissue.
Yeah.
So the adhesions do a couple things. If you take a 20-inch rope, which is your body when you're like 5 years old, right, and everything is at the right length tension relationship, you have a 20-inch rope. If you tie 10 knots in it, what happens to the length of that rope?
Shorter.
It gets shorter.
Yeah.
So do your muscles. So if your pecs are used on a regular basis, your pecs attaching from your sternum to your acromion, they're going to shorten, and they're going to pull whatever joint is attached with it. So then we end up with this protracted or rounded forward shoulder. Now, you can stretch all you want, but if you're stretching that shortened rope, are you ever going to get it back to 20 inches just by stretching it?
No.
You have to take the knots out. So that's why foam rolling is so important, because as you start a workout regimen, you're going to be using muscles that you didn't know you had. And you're also trying to recover from using muscles that you've had for, that are tight for 20 or 30 years. So if you just jump into a foam rolling program or a workout program and you're not doing rehab or recovery, you're going to get injured. It's about 6 to 8 weeks before the first injury occurs anytime somebody starts a workout program. And I don't mean like throwing out their back. I mean like plantar fasciitis, knee pain, back pain, hip pain, shoulder pain, just like kind of a little twinge of something that they didn't necessarily have before. But all of that stuff can be avoided with foam rolling and stretching, and then strengthening of the right areas. So I'll tell you this, because this is kind of like a secret, but the areas that are usually the most tight on people are hip flexors, quads, chest, neck and traps, lower back, and calves. So if you're going into a new workout routine and you're feeling excess strain on your lower back, your quads, your traps, it's because those are already dominant. They're already receiving the signal from the brain. So you have to foam roll to shut them down so that your glutes can fire, your abs can fire, your hamstrings can fire.
So what should we, what I've noticed in this process, again, I'm 8 weeks out from surgery, and I've noticed this difference, not only one of just amazing changes. I'm like starting to walk upstairs, and it may not seem like a big deal, but I'm like, okay, just like 2 weeks ago, like I'm crying because it's hurting so bad. And so, so I'm noticing, I mean, really, my physical therapist came to the point of we have to get through that. There's a pain, that you have to work through that. So, and knowing it, getting through that and just seeing the difference, what are some signs that, like, if we're in that, knowing that we need to be stretching using a foam roller, all that, what are some signs that we need to look at? Okay, that's what I need to be looking for as far as that's enough stretching, what's helping me to get to that point of,
Right.
not
Yeah,
injuring
that's a good
myself.
question. Typically, like with the foam roller, and I'll try to send you like a full body foam rolling sheet.
Okay.
I think I have a video of it actually, but with the foam roller, if it's tender, you need it. So if you're rolling on your quads and there's like 20 adhesions, you need to break those up. But then if you turn over and you roll on your hamstrings and there's one, you know that obviously the quads are worse than the hamstrings. They're being overused. Same thing with the lower back. If you put a baseball on your lower back and you're noticing like it's tender, then you need it. So the difference between, like, if you press on your muscle on your forearm and you squeeze and you can feel where those muscles are, that's like a muscle pain. But if you like press on your elbow, you can feel the difference in pressure from your bone to your muscle. So that's kind of how you know if it's tender because it's knotted up, or if you're like on a bone or on a joint, which we never foam roll on. But the concept behind foam rolling is to break up the adhesions so that, one, you can shut down dominant muscles so that other muscles can be worked. And two, to break up those adhesions, because nothing, just like with scar tissue, nothing will break up adhesions. There's no supplement you can take. There's no quick fix for it. It's hardcore. Get on the roller, get on a PVC pipe, use a baseball, and break up those knots. And I promise you, you can get rid of any type of joint and muscle pain with just foam rolling.
Huh. Nice.
Yeah, it's amazing. And even for you too, recovering from your knee surgery, your quads are probably tight, which restricts your flexion of your knee. So if you roll your quads, it'll increase your range of motion.
Yeah, and it's weaker. So, but that's a good point. I totally need to do that. That's an extra. I mean, there's just a number of things that will help, and that's probably key factor that I haven't even considered.
Sure. Yeah,
so
hydration too.
If we look at, our joints or maybe our knees or back, maybe things that are kind of more achy, could be just even walking and things like that. Are there different, different signs that you'd mentioned you got a couple hours of sleep, so that's why.
I do. My side was little.
So I appreciate you doing. So by, foam rolling and stretching, things like that, those will help kind of the aches.
Mm-hmm.
And with knees, if we're walking or anything that just.
Knees are typically quad dominance. When the
quads is it arthritis, even if somebody has arthritis?
It can be.
Okay.
It can be, but typically, like if they've had x-rays and they don't have arthritis and the doctor's like, oh, well, it's this or that or this or that, the doctors aren't trained to give you, like, they're not trained in biomechanics. They're not trained to say, well, you're dominant here and this muscle's weak and that muscle's weak, so strengthen this. They're just not that they don't want to. They just don't. That's not what they went to school for. They went to school to diagnose and prescribe, basically. And so if they have arthritis, foam rolling can help slow down the process of that degeneration. But at the same time, a lot of times people think it's arthritis because of the pain that they have, but it's just muscle imbalances. I mean, if you think about it, your body, so like if this is your shoulder joint, your body was designed with 90 to 100 years worth of cartilage because the shoulder joint is supposed to stay in this position. But as you get older and your shoulder starts to round forward, all of a sudden that space that was there is no longer there anymore. And now it's rubbing on the bone. And that's where arthritis comes from. So the realignment of that joint is what helps to slow down the progression of arthritis.
Nice. That's awesome.
So the more properly aligned we are with every area of our body, the less risk of injury we're going to have.
Yeah, for sure. Now, were you, when you were doing even personal training, were you ever focusing on this, that's what you're doing, is focusing on this aspect of, or were you helping in the, around this line when you're working with your clients?
Yeah, so when I originally started, I was a personal trainer, and I really didn't know that much. I actually went from doing sales at the gym to personal training at the gym. And I just did what I knew, what was right for me, what made me feel good. And then about a year after I started training, that's when I got the advanced certification. And so I started incorporating their weaknesses into their training module, and that's what I do now. So all the training and in-home training clients that I see, are specific to, like, all their exercises are specific to their body. So I have a couple I train. He's hamstring dominant, she's quad dominant. So they can't do the same lower body exercises. But both of them have really tight chests and really tight lats or traps because they sit at a desk all day. So their upper body regimen is the same. I don't let them do any chest. I don't let them do any flies. I don't let them do a lot of overhead stuff because their traps will engage. So it's a lot of like close grip rows, reverse flies, posterior deltoid, because the tighter they are and the more you give them exercises that are going to make them tighter, their shoulder pain or their neck pain is going to get worse. And so as a trainer and as a corrective exercise specialist, my goal is to take them out of pain, not cause them pain. Even though I can give them a good workout, I mean, some of these people are, I have clients in their 50s, I have clients in their late 60s. So I want to make sure that what I'm doing is not hurting them and it's actually improving their quality of life instead of making it worse.
Yeah, totally. I know you'd mentioned there's obviously no pill or whatever, any natural supplements, whether, like even if it's essential oils or, things that I've been playing around with those lately, to be honest with you. I'm in this little study, athletic type study, and it's even this muscle rub and things like that. And I mean, is there anything?
Yeah, hydration is like the biggest tool. I usually recommend people get 100 ounces a day or more if they're active. People think that, they're like, oh, I drink plenty of water. Okay, well, your idea of plenty and my idea of plenty are two totally different. So if you're drinking 100 ounces a day and then more for if you're active, you're fueling your body with enough to get rid of any toxins that are in your body that might accumulate in those muscle tears or that would create adhesions. And then you're also making sure that your muscles stay hydrated because they're supposed to slide on each other like two pieces of silk together. And when you have adhesions, they get stuck. And then that restricts your range of motion. Okay. So, and then another thing too that is really helpful for muscle pain is magnesium citrate or magnesium glycinate.
Okay.
They're really good for tight muscles because magnesium is responsible for over 300 different chemical reactions in the body, and aches and pains, joint pain, muscle cramp, muscle tightness, decreased range of motion. I mean, anxiety, brain fog, insomnia, all of that magnesium helps with.
Do you have a specific brand that you like to kind of recommend?
I have one from Claire Labs on my website that I like. It's just a magnesium glycinate, and it's mild. Some of the other magnesiums, like you'll know you're taking too much if you feel like you're going to poop your pants because like some of it is really intense, but this one is very mild. And, I take 3 in the morning and 3 at night. It's about like 600 micrograms, I think. But other than that, or milligrams, but other than that, you just kind of have to play around with it because everybody's body responds differently to different magnesium.
And that's one question I want to ask you too. If anybody would like to get in touch with you, I'll provide maybe your website. Is that a good way? Or
the website is www.correctiveexerciseaz.com.
Correctiveexerciseaz.com.
And then my email is fitcoachpro@gmail.com.
Okay.
And then the website will take you right to email me if they want to,
They can even see some of these supplements that you're recommending.
Yep, that's on the site.
Okay, perfect.
And then also the group that I have is on Facebook. My Facebook page is Hope for Healing from Mystery Illnesses.
Okay, perfect. And I'll make sure to provide all that info and the link, things like that. So anything else that you think of, anything else as far as them reaching out to you, any other last tips? I mean, we definitely appreciate, super helpful.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that just the awareness of like foam rolling and stretching and like just not being shy about it and don't be fearful, just get on a roller and try it out. And I'll share with you on the group one of the videos. Okay. And you can just, share that with them so that they can see how it's done. And there's, it's just a quick instructional video. So.
Yeah, I mean, I just have been so fascinated with all this stuff too, for my own personal experience that these things, they just seem so little, but it makes a big difference.
Yeah, they do, for sure. Yeah. And that's the thing is, if you're starting on a fitness regimen, that's something you've never done before, you're going to be sore, and foam rolling will take all of that away for you.
Yeah, true. So true. Well, thank you so much.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Good luck. Bye.